WormeWoole, and I've been making things out of felted sweaters since about 2011 or 2012, and I often get asked how I felt my sweaters, so I thought I would make this video today and explain to you what I do. And we're not going to do it at the washing machine because everybody's washing machines are different and you know how to use your own machine, but I'm going to tell you about the different tips and tricks techniques that I use to get the sweaters to felt well. So first of all, taking a wool sweater such as this and then shrinking it in the washing machine or by hand with hot water is actually known as fulling. Felting is a different process, but here in America everybody calls this felting, and these are known as like felted sweater wool mittens, felted sweater wool. So that's just what we're going to call it. So to just let you know, these are some of the things that you can make once you have felted your sweaters. Once you've shrunk them up, you can cut them without worrying about them falling apart. So you can make things like mittens or pot holders, coasters. Wool has these wonderful natural insulating properties and even water resistant properties that make it great to work with and to wear and to use. So the first thing you would want to do is, if you have any trim on your sweaters, I removed the clasps, you can remove the buttons if you want to, but if there's any trim, this is ribbon, anything like that on your sweater, you would want to remove that, because you're going to shrink the wool. And if you have something solid like this that won't shrink in your washer, it keeps this whole side of the sweater from shrinking and turning into the thick, durable material that you want. So step one would be to remove any kind of trim. If you have a cardigan with a zipper, you may also want to remove that because, again, it would keep it from felting. Or if there are any kind of special buttons on it that you might want to reuse that might be damaged in the washer, you could remove that as well. So this one here has some pretty clasps on it, and I would probably take those off first so that they don't get ruined in the washer and dryer process. Okay, so after you do that, you want to make sure that you wash one color at a time, and even separating light and dark colors, because when you wash them, lots of lint and fuzz come out, and they will transfer from one sweater to another. So if you wash, say, this light purple one with a black sweater, you're going to have lint crossing back and forth and sticking to the opposite sweaters, which you don't want. So you want to wash one color at a time, and even separating lights and darks. So a dark purple you would wash by itself, separate from a light purple, so that crossing doesn't happen. The second thing that I do is I throw in jeans in my washer, and I have dedicated jeans. I have dark ones and light ones that go in my loads, and they are specifically just dedicated. They stay by my washer. Nobody wears these. They came from a thrift store, or ones that no one in our family wants to wear anymore. And there are two things that the jeans do. I put 2 pairs in each load. The first thing is that it contributes to the tumbling action of your washer and makes the sweaters tumble around, and it gives them friction. And friction is part of heat, and friction are what make the sweaters felt. So throwing those jeans in with their legs and their long shape helps to tumble the sweaters around and provides more friction. It also helps your machine to stay in balance. You know how if you've ever washed one sweater or one towel or a couple of towels at a time, your machine can get off balance and make that loud noise, or maybe even stop in the middle of the cycle. So throwing jeans in helps that to not happen. It just gives a few more garments in there at a time so that the weight can be distributed and they don't make your machine go out of balance. So dedicated jeans are a great thing to use. So again, I said it was heat and friction that cause your sweaters to felt, but you don't want to overfelt your sweaters. I have, on more than one occasion, washed something on really hot water, and the sweater comes out about a ½ inch thick, really tight, and you can't really do anything with it. It's too thick and no longer flexible enough to cut and make into a sweater. I mean, mittens, or a pot holder that can go around a pan handle, because it's too thick. So once that happens, there's no going back. Once you've overfelted something, there's no way to fix it. So I always start with just warm water, and again, you'll kind of get to learn what your washing machine will do. Some felt things very easily and very quickly, some don't. So it's kind of a process of trial and error. And some sweaters react differently than other sweaters. So I always start cautiously, and I start with warm water. I wash them, put them through the dryer. If they aren't felted enough, I repeat it again. And sometimes I'll even step it down to cool if I only want it to just felt a little bit more. So just use caution, start with cooler water, probably warm, and if it's not enough, you can always do it again. But once it's overdone, you can't fix it. So don't start with hot right away. All right, once it has been washed, I like to open up the seams, because a sweater or any garment will naturally have a crease like this. And if you put it in the dryer like this, sometimes this crease will increase, I guess. It gets sharp and permanent, and so then when you try to open up your fabric and make something out of it, you've got this crease that you really can't get rid of. So one way to get rid of it is to go ahead and open the seams of the sweater before you dry it. So I just pull it open, cut up the seam and then throw it in the dryer. And the reason I wait until after I wash it is because when you cut that, then you have this, one edge has the seam usually and the other has a raw edge. And sometimes going through the washer that'll curl up and you want it to stay flat. So I wait until after I wash it, cut it, and then throw it in the dryer with the jeans. Make sure you transfer the jeans from your washer to your dryer and dry them along with the sweaters. Again, it helps it tumble, they dry faster, and so they just assist in that process. And then after that, you can pull it out of your dryer when the dryer ends and look at it. If the stitch definition is gone, if it's tighter, it's fuzzier, you can't see it very much, and it's not too thick, then you're done. If you decide, I want my fabric a little thicker, or I can see the stitches too much still, it's not just this fuzzed fabric, you can repeat the process. You can wash it on warm again or wash it on cold again, put the jeans back in, and go from there. So those are my basic methods. Again, it is kind of trial and error. You'll figure out how your washer works and how some sweaters felt differently. Oh, I should say, you do want to make sure that your sweaters are 70% animal fiber. So that could be wool, cashmere, alpaca, Angora, anything like that falls in the animal category. 70% or more is the number that you need for it to felt. And also make sure that it does not say hand washable. Look at your tags. Usually if it says hand or machine washable, it's not going to felt. But if it says dry clean only, usually you're pretty good to go. So those are my tips on how to felt sweaters for crafting. And I'm going to add a few more on the website. You can check out WormeWoole.com for more ideas and tips, and shopping. If you decide that you don't want to make your own felted items, you can buy them there from me. So thanks for watching.